Good morning. After spending the start of the Dawn of the Hunt League on an Essence Drain Contagion Lich, with this build here, I am back to my disease spreading ways with this Plague Dancer Titan. Just recently, Kall showed off his Wind Dancer Titan build that just clears screens without really having to press any buttons due to the Wind Dancer Armor Explosion interaction with the poison combination that is facilitating that chain reaction. So I thought, why not lean into this poison madness even more, adding Plague Finger Gloves, stacking Poison Magnitude, and adding the damage ability of Plague Bearer to poison and destroy our surroundings on a level not seen since Europe's 14th century. So of course, huge shout out to Torak here, who in his sheer infinite wisdom was the main reason behind this Wind Dancer interaction being popularized, and who keeps innovating on these types of builds. So please go drop him a follow either on his YouTube or Twitch. So everything about this character here will be thoroughly explained within a full Mobalytics guide that will be linked in the description of this video. Also, if you ever have any questions about this or any of my build guides, the best way to get those answered is my Twitch stream, where I am streaming every day and am always happy to answer any questions. So let's get into this Plague Dancer Titan. Going over the character sheet here, we can already see this Titan is going to be extremely tanky with over 4,400 life. We are mainly stacking strength in this case. We are trying to get over 205 dexterity as well to satisfy the stat requirements for our Wind Dancer and our Herald of Plague. This is extremely tanky, 4,400 life. We are also with 69 armor here, nice. And also, of course, our elemental resistances are also capped as well, with our chaos resistance being capped as well. We are also going with a shield setup here. We have 75% block chance, which is the maximum block chance as well. In this setup right now, I'm using a Chernobog. This is not needed on a budget. If you are on a more budget focused setup here, both the Morir and the Chernobog is not needed. What you want, of course, is maxing your block chance. What we do here in this build to max our block chance is use Glancing Blows. Without the Glancing Blows on the passive tree here, our block chance would be around 40% here. So we are using Glancing Blows to get this to 75%. So overall, 4,400 life, a bunch of strength, a lot of armor, and also 75% max block here. So overall, extremely tanky during maps in this specific setup that I am running here. During maps, and when we just go through maps, even the heavily juiced daily maps and stuff, this is barely killable in most cases. So very, very tanky here. The skill gems are going to be pretty straightforward, with this being basically a zero button build when we are actually mapping. This is going to be very, very easily explained here. We're using Mace Strike with Martial Tempo, Close Combat, Fire Infusion, Elemental Focus, and Primal Armament when we actually have to hit something with our mace here. Our main clear is going to be Wind Dancer here. We're using Envenom, we're using Corrosion, Bursting Plague, Armor Explosion, and Magnified Effect. The chance to poison on this Wind Dancer here is going to be over 100%. So every time anything hits us, it gets poisoned. With the Envenom here, it gets the Corrosion, it gets the Bursting Plague and the Armor Explosion. And this gets spread by our Herald of Plague here to clear all the screens that are on our screen, basically. Next thing is going to be Shield Charge. Shield Charge when mapping is a nice little mobility tool, but also when we are bossing, this is actually going to be our main damage here. So we are using Execute, Rage Forged, Heavy Swing, Concentrated Effect, and Momentum here. So basically, what I just said, this is all just going to be it for mapping. When we are mapping, we're only going to be going in the mob groups. Basically, we're going to get hit. Wind Dancer is going to kill everything around us, and sometimes we can maybe finish off stuff with our Plague Bearer here. So we just go Plague Bearer to 100%. We press, in this case, F to poison everything in our surroundings here, and then we finish off the rares with that. So that is all we need for mapping. For bossing, it is a little bit different. When we are actually doing a map boss or anything, the rotation is going to be we're using Solar Orb, we're using flammability, Infernal Cry, and then we just shield charge into the boss's face. And that is how we kill bosses in this case. We can also add Plague Barrier when killing bosses as well in this case. So, shield charge, execute, rage forge, heavy swing, concentrated effect, and momentum, Infernal Cry, premeditation, enraged war cry, raging cry, dazing cry, solo orb, font of rage, font of blood, fire exposure, strip away, and expands. Plague Bearer, like I said, physical mastery, chaos mastery, deliberation, and cannibalism. Flammability, curse ground, heightened curse, and ritualistic curse. I also have some extra spirit due to my amulet providing me with some spirit, so I'm using scavenged plating here. And also for bossing, we're using voltaic mark to break armor with single out, lightning infusion, and conduction. Of course, I'm using a solo orb that is low level, in this case 5. I'm also using flammability on the lowest level possible, level 7, because we do not have the int to get a higher level in this case. So just to show it again, when we're actually bossing, I'm gonna drop a solo orb on myself to get rage. I am dropping the flammability debuff, and then when the boss actually spawns, I am going to Infernal Cry, and then we just kill the boss with a shield charge, and then we can also add Plague Nova to the mix. So again, solo orb, flammability, Infernal Cry, and shield charge for damage. That is the rotation for bossing. In terms of gear, your first priority in terms of damage will always be the two-handed mace here. In this case, you want as high physical damage as you can get. The second priority on your two-handed mace is always going to be the level of all melee skills. And then you also want to get strength, and you also want a leech as physical damage. So, getting strength is going to be the main objective on every single gear piece here. So if I go over all of the gear pieces here, you can see that I am getting strength and dexterity if I can on every single one here. So stacking strength and getting dexterity as a bonus here is going to be a very important thing, because we are trying to fulfill the stat requirement of our main damage weapon here, and also the stat requirements for our skill gems here. So for our skill gems, stat requirements are going to be for the level 20 here, 205 dex. And for example, for this weapon here, just this Fanatic Great Hammer that I have here, this has a strength requirement of 636. So getting these strength requirements filled and getting the dexterity requirement satisfied is going to be a very big priority here, because we do not want to use the vertex in this case. I think if you can use the vertex, and if you prefer using the vertex to have the requirements here, that is definitely going to be a possibility. I much prefer using a normal helm here, because it gives us so much more. So, other than that, the priorities, of course, will be maximum life, to get as much maximum life as possible on every single gear piece. I'm using a Warrior Invictus here with attributes, maximum life, and all res. I'm also using strength runes in this Warrior. If you don't want to spend the money on this type of Warrior here, you can also go with a normal body armor that is armor and evasion hybrid, with maximum life, with triple res, and as high armor and evasion as you can. You can always go for armor and evasion hybrid gear here, because due to the iron reflexes here, we are always converting our evasion rating into armor. So you can just go with hybrid gear here, armor and evasion rating. That is going to be very, very cheap. You can get boots like this, for example, or you can get a helmet like this for very, very cheap, due to the nature of it being hybrid gear and not being really sought after at this point. So getting hybrid gear, very, very cheap. You can get a very, very good hybrid gear with as much armor and as much energy evasion rating as you can. So that is going to be the priority defensively. Also, of course, stacking your reses and then getting as much maximum life as you can. On the amulet, we want plus level to all melee skills. We again want attributes like strength or dexterity here. We want maximum life, and if you can get it, increased maximum life as well. And also, if you can get it, this is not a must though, you can go with spirit on the amulet. to add stuff like scavenge plating, for example. Not really needed. If you can get some extra spirit on your amulet, that is going to be nice. Usually, it's only going to be needed to get the normal 100 spirit here in order to use Plague Bearer, in order to use Herald of Plague and Wind Dancer. That is going to be everything you need. But if you can get some extra spirit on your amulet, that is going to be a nice bonus. On the rings, we want flat, we want maximum life, we want, again, attributes, and that is it. So maximum life, attributes, leech if you can get it, and the flats maximum life. Like I said, attributes, 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 basically. We're using Plague Finger Gloves, of course, to have all damage from hits contribute to poison magnitude here. And I am, like I said already, also using the Chernobog here. Also not needed. You can use a rare shield on a budget with Tri-Res, with maximum life and armor, for example. And high block chance is going to be your priority number 1 on a shield like this. So next, let's go over the passive tree. So on the passive tree here, you can see that in the Titan Ascendancy points, we are of course going for Hulking form. We are going for Mysterious Lineage and Zone Skin to make our Titan as tanky as we can. Otherwise, on the passive tree overall, we are going for the offensive stance and lay siege combo in order to get the 75 block chance. We are also using glancing blows to get to the 75. And then we are making up for the damage loss because we are not using the two-handed mace in the offhand. We are making up for this damage loss with the lay siege and offensive stance combo here. So we have anointed lay siege in this case on our amulet here. I'm also using a Megalomaniac, for example, with Prism Guard and Leeching Toxins. Leeching Toxins is very nice in order to get some magnitude of poison. That is a big focus that we have on the passive tree here. So we are going with the lined to wasting here and also deterioration here. Both of these supply this character with magnitude of poison. So stacking this magnitude of poison is going to make the damage of every poison that we apply very, very high. And we are always looking for stacking this magnitude of poison here. So also we are of course using Giant's Blood in order to have the ability to use a two-handed mace and a shield here. So other than that, this tree is going to be very, very strength based. We are using Titanic as well to increase our strength. And also overall, we are just always going for these strength nodes as much as we can. We are also getting some extra armor from Sturdy Metal and the Blade Catcher here. So everything on this tree is basically to get as high damage as possible while also being incredibly tanky. The jewel slots are used by these types of emeralds here. So on this emerald, we can get chance to poison on hit, increased magnitude of ailments you inflict. This includes poison. Chance to blight enemies on hit is a bonus here. And increased magnitude of poison you inflict. That is the most important one. We want increased magnitude of ailments, so poison. We want increased magnitude of poisons, so we are double dipping into the magnitude of poison here. We want chance to poison on hit, and then another choice, for example, is going to be chance to inflict ailments on hit. So we can double dip 2 ways here. Also, like I said, I'm using a Megalomaniac here. These can get really, really cheap. You can get one of these poison Megalomaniacs with like nice combos like crippling toxins, basically the leeching toxins here, or anything else you might get. These are pretty expensive. I think I picked this up for like 1 div just earlier today. So due to no one really using the poison interactions here, these can be really, really cheap. Other than that, I'm also using 1 ruby here with increased melee damage, with damage with maces, increased amount of life leech, and 1 rage on melee hit. That is basically a nice little bonus. Other than that, you can basically use any emerald that you want, like this, with poison on hit, increased magnitude of ailments, and increased magnitude of poison. That is going to catapult your damage on the poisons a lot. So passive tree is of course again going to be on the mobalytics. So if you prefer a written guide on the mobalytics and you just want to build this as well and go 1 by 1, the mobalytics is going to be linked in the description here. Also, other than that, come join the Twitch stream sometime. I'm streaming every single day on my Twitch. I'm playing a multitude of different builds, mostly the builds that I have released on my mobalytics as well. So if you ever have any questions or want to theory craft with us on stream, come join my Twitch and say hi. That is going to be it for this video though. See you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.